Welcome to
Chatting with You. All right, welcome to another episode of Chatting with You. I'm Michael Urbina.
I'm Papiya.
And today we're going to talk about something more serious. I think our last podcast, we were all about nerdy Star Wars. And, you know, I want to talk about, I think I pointed out that we would bring up the subject of school. The new trend that a lot of people are saying, is it necessary to go to college? Is it not necessary to go to college? Should you pursue a graduate degree? Who should pursue a graduate degree? Who should just go for a technical degree? Who should just stay clear of anything and just go straight for, you know, a job? And the reason why I wanted to interview or have Papiya join us is because Papiya wants to go to law school. And that's kind of the reason why she is here with us. And I usually tell people that want to go to law school to rethink their life and see who hurt you as to why would you want to go through that process. I know I went through it myself, which is why I kind of tell people, really, you want to torture yourself in that way? And some people's answer is yes. So far, Papiya continues to answer yes. So we want to know, Papiya, who hurt you? Totally kidding.
Well, you see, no, I'm just kidding. I actually have gotten that spiel from multiple people. The really think about this. Is it worth it? The work, the debt, and everything. And for me, it is, because I've known I wanted to be a lawyer since, don't laugh, I saw Legally Blonde in 7th grade. That is not a joke. I saw that movie and I was like, I'm going to be Elle Woods. And yeah, I still think that. Stop biting your lip. You know what? That's better than laughing, so I'll take it.
I'm allergic. That's the problem.
You're allergic?
Yeah, I have allergies too.
To?
Funny things.
Oh, okay.
Funny comments like, I want to be Elle Woods. Gives me allergies. Yeah. Like, I'm going into hives right now.
I told you, it's not something that I normally share, but now I guess everyone's going to find out.
Sure, you make it super public. I'm going to go on this podcast and tell everybody that I want to go to law school because I want to be Elle Woods. But so you want to save puppies that are in like cosmetic centers?
That's not what she did. She saved
in the second movie. She did.
I kind of forgot the plot of the movie.
Oh my god,
it's been a while. The point is, my dad he was the first one to give me the spiel, and he was like, oh my gosh, so much debt, like what are you gonna do computer science, it's a safe bet, you'll make money when you graduate. And I did that. I listened to him. I graduated with computer science. I got a great job after I graduated, worked full time, and I learned that I hated it and I cannot spend the rest of my life doing this. So I decided I might as well apply to law school while I'm still kind of young, you know, like what have I got to lose? So
just your youthful adventure.
Yeah, that's just all gonna decline from here.
Absolutely. Law school completely ruins the best of minds.
Really?
Just kidding. Well, I think it depends. I'll tell you my point of view. I see a lot of people that go to law school with a certain idealistic kind of persona, and they are shattered like first semester because it's sort of a unique animal in the sense that you have to be concise in your line of thinking and kind of differentiate between the woods and the leaves and the trees. You'll hear that speech a lot in law school. Yeah. But you also have to be sufficiently thorough to describe the woods. You see what I mean? So it's a balance that not everybody is willing or able to do. And I saw some people that were very smart my first semester of law school that were almost like intimidated. And I was like, Jesus, like this guy is just a regular. Yeah. And after the finals, I could see him in the finals just going, because they didn't have time because they wanted to like address everything. So I think if you're more like a linear thinker and focus on the subject at hand and kind of like how to apply it quickly, like analytical, you do fine. But when you're smart because you can memorize a lot of things and you can be very wordy, it's not necessarily the kind of thinking that will make you successful. Yeah. So just to say, I have full faith that you can go through law school and you can do it. But I can totally see why some people fail miserably in doing this.
Yeah. Side note, I remember the plot now. Elwood actually got someone off of murder charges, so thank you very much.
It was also a sorority sister of hers who was accused of killing her old husband because she was having an affair.
So you knew the plot and couldn't help me out? What? Just left me hanging?
It was just funnier.
Do you guys
Plus,
hear this?
I broke into hives. I couldn't really talk much.
Oh,
my allergic
story.
reaction. My allergic reaction. Caused me to forget the plot temporarily. The sad part is that I knew it because I watched that movie a lot.
There you go. See, you can't be making fun of me when you've watched it multiple times.
Well, the reason is because I really did want to be a lawyer since I was very little. We won't go into all the details.
Okay.
There's a reason why you're here, okay? And it's just to nod and be like, yep, just kidding. And every legal movie, whether I understood it or not, when I was little, I would not stop watching The Firm with Tom Cruise. I'm going to tell you right now, now as an adult, I'm like, oh, that's what that was. And there's several parts that I'm like, oh, I completely misunderstood that. Not necessarily all legal stuff, but, I was just thrilled at the idea of being a lawyer. Granted, I wanted to be a corporate lawyer. I always said I would never, ever, ever, ever be an immigration lawyer. That's how the wheels turned. That here I am, But I do think there are certain people that are born with this position that no matter how terrible it is, and they can be dragged through hell, and they'll be like, look, man, I was born to be a lawyer. So I think that that's part of the reason you want to be Ella Woods. Go for it, Papiya. Just be the best Ella Woods you can be. Go save your sorority sisters from murder charges. Go save dogs from, makeup, what is it called? Makeup labs where they're forced to test them with makeup and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
But we're getting super off topic. Yeah. The topic of this podcast is not
Legally
Ella Woods.
Blonde.
It's school. So there's this huge movement now of people saying that going to college is a waste of time. It's a waste of money, that you spend 4 years basically partying and goofing around, getting yourself in debt only to be sort of par with where everybody else is at. Right. Versus you could try to do something more, practical, either trying to start your own business, if you have a good following your social media, being an influencer, or going to technical school. And I'm kind of on the fence because I can totally see other people's purposes and be like, yes, so-and-so should not go to college. They should do this. But then I think about my own kids and I'm like, wait a minute. What do you mean you're not going to college? Yeah. I've been putting away money on a college fund for no reason. You see what I mean? So I'm kind of on the fence. If I look at it from an outsider's perspective, I'd be like, yes, I get it. Why there's this movement. And I completely agree that not everybody should be striving to go to college, because I think it's just the tradition.
Yeah.
The same way that a lot of people are arguing that the curriculum for high schools in the United States is stupid. Because I remember when I was in Algebra 3, I told my teacher, I was like, when are we ever going to use this? And she would lose her mind. Yeah. Guess what? Still haven't used it. And actually, I don't remember any of it. But
A squared plus B squared equals C squared.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I didn't even remember what pi was until the other day. Somebody made a meme about... Oh, wow. That's such a lame joke. But you know what?
Kevin's dying in the corner, so that was a good joke, okay?
Kevin laughs about everything.
Okay.
You sneeze, Kevin's like, man, allergic reactions are awesome.
Sneeze.
Yes. I've never seen someone sneeze so good. Ha! Kevin and my brother-in-law, Edgardo, they're the same way. Everything in life makes them laugh. And Edgardo, to the point that he watches any movie, he's like, this is the greatest movie in the face of the earth. Kevin is not like that, but if you say anything about Spider-Man, it's the greatest thing on the face of the earth. So, or you can literally just make him laugh on anything. You just stare at him, he'll start laughing.
I would too.
Right now, I'm literally just looking at you and you're starting to laugh. See?
Yeah, because you're making him uncomfortable. Avert your gaze.
Am I that ugly? Jesus. He's laughing you're laughing at me, not with me. Is that what it is?
That's what it is.
Yeah, I get that a lot. But again, off topic. Thanks a lot, Kevin. The topic of school is something big that's going around right now. And there's this clash between generations as to parents, like in your case, your dad really wanted you to do this. Right. Which you did. You were miserable. And then not only that, but now you have a career, which is super useful, but you hate it.
Yeah.
So
I don't regret it though.
Okay.
That's the
Tell me your point of view. What do you think? You said you have a lot of opinions about this topic. So that's why you're here. Tell me, what do you think?
Well, it's kind of similar because I'm also torn as well. But for me and my experience personally, I loved college. So even though I'm not currently using my degree, I don't regret it. Because you're never going to be in that point in your life again where you know, all these kids are in the same area. They all live in the campus. You go to class together. You do everything together, you know. Everything's just like, you could have anything you want. You just got to look for it. You go to career services, or you go to like online, look for different clubs and stuff, and you could do anything you want. You can meet such a wide array of people. You're never going to have that again. So I personally feel like if you skip college, it better be because you have some other plan and you're like, you got 2 million followers, you're going to be an influencer, or like you were born to be a mechanic, you don't need it, or something like that. Because I get college is expensive, but I think it's more than just the degree and the education. I think the experiences you get in college are invaluable. The people that I've met, I still talk to. Some of my professors, I still email and, you know, catch up with and stuff. Some of them are writing me recommendation letters like 3 years after I graduate. So,
did they know you personally when they were writing?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
I asked like the 2 professors out of all the ones I had that I actually connected with, but yeah,
that's a separate side note. But I see your point, and I think that I obviously really got to know Giselle, my wife, in undergrad. I knew her before, but it wasn't until we went to undergrad that I really got to know her well. And obviously that led to us getting engaged and married and have a bajillion kids and all these things. But three. Still,
I was going to say 3 is a bajillion.
Sometimes it feels like there's a bajillion kids in that house. They leave their mark.
Right.
In a totally good way. And I love you 3 kids, you know. But I think that college is a good experience. And I'm torn by that aspect but then it's also the aspect of, is it really a good experience, or is it just an excuse to go partying, or should you pay? Yes. But couldn't you go out on a weekly basis and still pay less than 4 years of college tuition?
But where would you meet the people that you go out with? Like, there's a sense of camaraderie.
Church, the clubs.
Yeah, but like it's so much easier when
Tapas
you're in class with, when you have a class with someone. It gives you more common ground to bond.
True.
And also things like, I got in touch with my cultural side in college, actually, because I joined this organization called Asia, and through there I did a bunch of a bunch of workshops and stuff about, you know, diaspora in America, like different cultures and stuff like that. And not to be cliche, but I feel like going to college made me woke, because stop.
Wow.
Because you interact with other organizations. So for instance, I was part of Asia, but we interacted with the Latin organization or the Filipino organization, and you would learn more about people and expand your worldview rather than just, it's more than just going to college and what you do with your degree. Which skills I've learned in those organizations are actually the skills I use at this job, not my degree. So, you know.
Okay, point taken.
Yeah.
I mean, you are pretty good at what to do.
Thank you.
When you are doing something. But
when I am doing something.
When you're actually
When
working.
I'm not eating cookies. Yeah. That's the catch.
Yeah, I had no idea about your cookie obsession. But I think,
you know.
I agree. I think the experiences is important. It's kind of like the discussion between homeschooling and going to school. Mm-hmm. You totally want kids to go to school because when they're homeschooled, they don't have interaction with other kids and et cetera, et cetera. I get that part of it. But high school, unless you go to a private school, is free.
Yeah.
College is not for most people. For most people, college is not free. So my thing is, like you said, you know, if you want to be a mechanic, if you have like this God-given talent to, you know, rework cars and things like that, or do technical skills, by all means, don't feel ashamed to go to a technical college. Like, this world needs people with technical skills. Otherwise, there'll be a lot of things that won't work or society won't work. Exactly. I think the biggest mistake that people make is that they try to be something they're not. And I think you have to be focused on what you're really talented at and what you're really good at, you know? And if you like it, if you enjoy it and you're good at it, then by all means, like, go for it. You can definitely, to me, we were talking about this earlier. I went to this event and this lady was literally making money out of something that was free. Basically, it's a service. The service, like, it's getting a tax ID, right? Okay. You can ask for a tax ID for free, and yet this lady was charging people to basically fill out the application for them and apply it, which is a service, but essentially it's like you literally are making a profit out of something that is free. So we live in a country where you can literally take anything. There are people that make a living by picking up like garbage in the street and like turning it into recycling centers and things like that. There are people that literally only just donate blood. Like, you make a profit or you can make money doing pretty much anything. So why don't you do it in something that you're actually talented, that you're good at, rather than something that you're going to hate and not necessarily, use it.
I agree.
Life takes funny turns, and sometimes maybe you might end up doing internet law in the future or something like that.
Or like patent law or something.
Exactly. So I think your degree will still be useful. But at the same time, it's like not necessarily the end, of the road for you, because you want to do other things.
Exactly. Yeah, that is true. And I think for instance, I have a friend who has an incredible entrepreneurial mind. And so he actually dropped out of college, and now he is a part of a bunch of startups, and he's doing really well for himself. But that's because he knew, like, okay, this is not for me. Like, I want to venture out into business. And he was, how do I phrase this? Determined to do it. Like, he had motivation. He followed through. I feel like a lot of people also need structure. So that's something that college provides. Whereas, like, there are so many people out there who are like, oh, I don't need to go to college. I'm going to be an entrepreneur or a coder. I'm going to create an app or something. That's all great. But after people graduate high school, sometimes they lack the discipline and the motivation to follow through with it. Because it's so easy to be your own boss and just not do anything. You don't have anyone or anything holding you accountable.
Wait.
No, that was not a dig at you, I promise.
No, I'm not saying it's a dig. I just think that that's the general conception that people are like, misconception, excuse me.
Oh, really?
That people are like, oh, you're your own boss. You can do whatever you want. I think being your own boss is possibly, first of all, to me, that was my worst nightmare. I never wanted to be my own boss.
Yeah?
I thought that was going to be the worst possible decision I could ever make. It's been great, but at the same time, don't get me wrong, I've been doing this for 6.5 years, and there are still days that I wake up, I'm like, I'm terrified. And it's because it's scary to think that, people's livelihoods and lives depend on you performing or doing your job.
Yeah.
So when people talk about, oh, it wouldn't be great to be your own boss and not work when you don't want to and work when you want to, I'm like, if you're your own boss and when you need to be successful, you know when you're going to work all the time. You're going to be on vacation. You're going to work. It's going to be Christmas Day. You're going to work. Like, yeah. And that to me has been the biggest struggle, to like understand that, like, come to grips with that. That's
actually what I was talking about. Because like I said, my friend who's actually succeeding is like that. He understands that. But there are so many people that don't, and they have that misconception. So, it's basically like, oh, I'll figure it out. And they don't stick to it. They don't work all the time. So for those people, I think they would benefit from structure and, like, maybe if not college, I don't know, hiring an assistant or something. But I guess with what money? Never mind. I take it back.
I was like, that would be all fun and games.
Yeah.
How would you pay said assistant?
Yeah.
Or you can get a free assistant, but it's, again, you get what you pay for. So, because a lot of times you have people say, oh, I'll do this for free for you. I'm like, how good are you that you'll do XYZ for free? You know? By the way, that has nothing to do with free consults. That's a different story. But I agree with you. I think the structure, I never even thought about it that form, that people do need some structure and maybe some like push in the right direction to like at least think about what it is that they want to do, like I honestly, and another part of it is that on the flip side, there are times that you don't know when something's going to become a hot field. And I think I've said this before, I'll say it again. I thought Kevin was being a huge idiot in being a film major. I'm talking like major idiot. Yeah. I was like, Kevin, like, what are you going to live off? Like, you really think you're going to make some Indiana Jones movie and people are just going to love you immediately and be a millionaire? Like, come on. And
he's in the corner nodding his head like, yes.
But look what's happening right now in Georgia. Georgia's like the biggest state with regards to film. Video, social media, and like film editing are like super hot markets right now. Right. So to the point that I felt the need to hire Kevin, and I really dislike Kevin, but it's just, I really had to hire him. So it gives you the other side of the coin that sometimes parents don't support their kids, thinking, what are you going to do with that? But then things change. Yeah. I never in a million years thought that film would be such a hot commodity at this point. So my apologies to you, sir. But
Michael just apologized?
I don't know. I was talking to the guy behind him. Oh. There's no guy behind him. No, but I think I see that, how sometimes on the flip side of it, people can do a structure, but other people is really just, you don't know what's going to become hot in the future.
Exactly.
So like a few years ago, Spanish, for a long time, having a Spanish degree was hot because they wanted interpreters or this and that. But now it's kind of like this overflow of Spanish people. So it's like, do you really need it? So you don't really need a degree on that. You just be like, hey, you're bilingual, come over here.
That's the thing. So like, for instance, my degree is comp sci. I know people who don't have a degree in that and can develop apps. So college is something that I think you really got to think about pros and cons. Like, do you need the structure? What degree are you getting? And do you actually need that degree to, you know, get the job that you want? Like, for instance, there are certain jobs that require PhDs. So it's like, if you really want to be this thing, you got to get, you know, a doctorate degree. Whereas other jobs don't. So it's, you know.
If you want to be a doctor, you definitely have to go to college.
Yeah.
If you want to be a lawyer, you definitely have to go to college. If you want to start your own business, not necessarily. Mark Zuckerberg, like there's many people that you can mention that didn't really finish school, right? Mark Zuckerberg didn't finish school.
He dropped out of Harvard. But I do want to just add, he dropped out of Harvard and he was like, he worked on Facebook. Like that was his passion, you know? So that's just, I guess, touching on my previous point that you really got to keep going. And he worked every day. You got to work every day if you're going to not go to college and have a career. Yeah.
So another interesting story that I read this book called How to Be a Capitalist Without Any Capital. And I forget the guy's name, is like Nathan Latka, I think it is, or something like that. He dropped out of college too. But basically he has like a bajillion sources of income, all different things, just because he was smart enough on how to figure it out. So he never finished college. And he actually said, I don't regret it because I think that it gave me ins on some relationships that I could use for my current business. But he doesn't use the little studies that he had at all. It's his connections.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. So he owns houses, which he rents out. He owns stock. He owns property. He owns businesses. Like things like that. But I mean, again, he has the same thing in common. He doesn't stop working or thinking ideas on how he can make money or how he can leverage every single relationship and credit card and bank account and things that he has to make sure that it works for him. Yeah. So I think it's just, like you said, if you want to be an entrepreneur, which is apparently another hot thing right now, be like, I'm an entrepreneur. What do? I do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Yeah. What the heck does that mean? Like, you have to have something clear. Like, not to mention any names, but I have a friend that nobody knows what he does. We'll take guesses at what he does. I'm guessing he's some kind of entrepreneur, but we don't really know. So I'm happy for him. He seems to be successful. But when people say entrepreneur and they don't know what you're saying, it's like you're just, you know, floating around in the world, just trying to figure out what it is that you're doing. Yeah. But it's working for him, you know. But there's a lot of people also, it's like, oh, no, I'm working hard on developing this app. Like that Kevin James show was like something that a show that just got canceled a couple of years ago. His so-called son-in-law on the show was developing an app. So he was always unemployed. And he's like, oh, I'm almost done developing this app. But like the entire run of the show, he was developing the app and never completed it. So you don't want to be that guy that lives in your fiance's parents' basement developing an app for your entire 20s and 30s. Get out there, do the app. If it's not working, move on to something else. Yeah. Like, get something done, you know? And that goes for everything. Like, I've seen people that go to law school, they open up their own shop and like, oh, it's easy. I just put my name on there, so I'm a lawyer, and that's it. Right. Yeah, no, that's kind of not how it works. So when I opened the firm, like the biggest thing, I was like, all right, so nobody wants to do these kind of cases and nobody wants to visit this jail. I will go visit this jail at least 3 times a week for my clients. And I will do all kinds of cases like this one, you know? Right. Within the realm of the law. But that's what you have to do. You can't be like, oh, no, I'm going to pick and choose my cases. And then later complain, oh, this was a really bad month for me. I'm like, well, you may want to hustle a little more. Right. So, or don't overspend when you don't have the money to. So. Right. So you going to law school and having your own firm, obviously law school helped you with the legal aspect. Yes. But do you think it's actually helped you learn how to network better and run your firm, or was that something that you learned completely on your own? Managed completely on my own. I don't think law school helped me in any way, shape, or form on how to be a better networker or how to manage own a law firm at all. Absolutely not. You know? They have some law firm management courses in law school, but nothing prepares you for the real thing. Right. Because also, again, it's like a business. You don't know how people are going to react, how you're going to get any kind of money. What kind of...
It's true.
The biggest thing is I always heard people say, no, well, I'm taking out a loan so I can open up my own firm. I was like, I would never do that. You start off already on a negative, you know?
Yeah.
So I literally got like a closet-sized office in another building nearby, and it was full of cockroaches, by the way. It was super embarrassing. I was having a consult, and there was a cockroach coming through, and I was like, we're gonna, keep going.
Push it to the side.
Keep going, sir. I'm listening to you. But I was like, you know what? Someday I'm going to look back at this and laugh. But in the meantime, I'm super embarrassed.
Yeah.
Now I kind of laugh. Still not ready to laugh fully, but But I think you have to start small, like be smart about your decisions and just really hustle. That's the only thing I can tell you. And I've seen other people. I think they have great ideas. I had a friend that went to another state thinking, oh, I'm going to do this kind of law. I'm like, you're going to starve. You do know what the kind of, I don't want to say too much details, but that particular area is not a good, it's not a good one to employ in that state. Like, it's going to be bad. They went bankrupt in like 4 months. Yikes. Because people sometimes are like, no, you don't understand. When you do this, it's kind of like a pyramid scheme. Like, no. So when somebody else gets in the program, you get money.
Yeah.
Not really. So that's kind of how I felt about that situation. So I think that if you want to go to law school and want to open up your own shop, that's fine. But you have to be thinking about how are you going to get out of the gates? Because one of the things to me that was a problem at first, not so much because I had some experience, but I've seen other people, is when you've never worked in another firm, you start out on your own, you don't have an idea or a model or something that you can think of, oh, I can do it this way, do it that way. I worked in another firm, so I had a basic idea on how I wanted to do things. So I guess I wanted to do them a little differently. And we've changed drastically the way we do things compared to before. And it has nothing to do with that the previous firm I worked with did it bad. I think that was just fine. Yeah. But you just prefer doing it a different way. And it's just nothing prepares you for the real thing. I don't care how many classes they give you in law school. And again, they don't give you a whole lot of them. But I just think you actually have to go out there and do it and have some real talk with yourself and be like, what's it going to take for me to be successful? Because it was scary to me when people were like, well, after year 5, you'll start like feeling like you make it. I'm like, 5 years of like dying? No. I'm going to kill myself this first year and see how it goes. And after year 1, I was like, oh, okay. Not only that, but I can actually move out of the closet. So I moved to another office, So it just depends on how much, like you said, how hard are you willing to work for what you want?
Right.
So I guess the final word on the school subject is, it depends.
Yeah. You're going to struggle either way. You just got to, know yourself.
Yeah. So really have some real talk with yourself. Determine whether, like Papiya said, do you need the structure? Do you just want the experience? Do you really, really need to have that debt on your credit or your parents' credit, depending on what you're going to do for it? But if you have a scholarship or something, I'd be like, hey, so that is not really going to be a problem. It's just going to be a matter of time. Mm-hmm. So you have to balance everything else out and make sure that it's something that makes sense. Also, don't let go of opportunities that might come your way, like business opportunities, just because you think you have to go to law school. I mean, school in general, like undergrad and whatnot. That's fine. Or people that say, I'm going to take a year off and come back. I don't remember an exact percentage, but it was something ridiculous. And when people took a year off to travel or to get to know themselves, the rate of people that actually came back was so low.
It's harder to come back.
Because you get used to not doing it.
Exactly.
So I think that's one subject that I can tell people, do not get comfortable. Make sure that you think about the fact that if you don't do it right out of the gate, you've immediately drastically decreased your chances that you're coming back to finish it up. So any last thoughts? I think we talked about everything except the main topic. We addressed it. I think
we did it. We came to a conclusion. It depends.
We came to, a super ambiguous conclusion, but we did come to a conclusion. So, but in any event, we thank you so much for your attention. Like I said, this was going to be a more serious talk than the last podcast. As always, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Pods, and could you be any louder, for the love of God? You were planning to do that the whole time, weren't you? I was waiting for the right moment to cut you off. Yeah. So say goodbye to Papiya. She'll never be in a podcast again. Just kidding. Follow us on Google and Apple and Spotify. You can find our podcast, Chatting With You. Thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to seeing you the next time.
Bye.
Bye.